Hallo, guten Tag, von Skeeter.
Hello, my friendings. We're back. We have returned from the purgatory. Um, it's
Uh,
been a while.
yes, been quite some time. We've been on a long-awaited hiatus of, well,
Let's see,
I guess a
since
bunch of crazy bullshit.
September. September 13th was the last episode.
2 days after 9/11, nice.
We're back.
And,
September. 4 months later,
yeah, and that's the thing,
almost
because
five.
we are, it's not like we're gonna be back and just kind of like not have something to give you, because we've got news.
We're back. We have a new goddamn channel out.
Yes, because so now this channel will be podcast exclusive.
Strictly podcasts only podcast episodes. Once a week. If we get to the point, maybe 2 times a week, we'll upload a podcast. We'll upload podcast episodes, only podcast episodes. Stuff like we we made a second channel called the Splash Pad that is specifically for non-podcast style videos like let's plays. Well, what we're gonna start out with is let's plays and the our own original content, which I'm really happy that we managed to actually come up with something that is ours. Reddit Souls.
Which if you see is like the last video before this one on the Slapdash channel itself. So content like that moving forward will be on the splash pad, and this channel will be podcast exclusive and no more reaction content.
Yeah, we're gonna cut that shit out until we get to the point where we have enough money to sell out. But
uh,
but
I
yeah,
think
no more reaction shit. And if we do, it'll be like a once in a lifetime live stream if I ever get a better setup.
yes.
But yeah, as you see, we also got a better layout. Oh yeah, we also the promo code for Dovey is a little bit different now. It's all codes slapdash, but with a money sign instead of a S. It's SLAPDA money sign H instead of the original. I think it's just a little bit easier for people to remember.
Very good. And now with all that in mind, of course, we'd love you all to be able to go down to the splash pad once it's all completely instated and we have all sorts of content uploaded there. I think you'll all enjoy it with an interesting little twist in format due to the different sorts of changes that are here.
And by the time this podcast episode is up, there will be videos on that channel, and I will leave a link in the description to it.
Yes, and moving forward, we'll be able to you know we'll get more onto the idea of
Oh
recording
yeah,
the
let's
stuff.
talk about what happened last year, right? In December, Rune graduated high school. He got his goddamn diploma.
Yes, it's very good. December 17th, 2024, a day I'll remember for the rest
He
of my
is now
life.
no longer a super senior. He fucking did it. Only took him a year. Only took him half a year extra, but he did it.
Oh god, don't fucking call me that. But yes, only took me an additional half a year, but funny enough, it was still 4 full years because
That's true. You missed the first half of
I
your
missed
freshman year.
I missed the first half of my freshman year, so this additional year kind of lined
That's
it up.
true. Huh? That's
So
funny.
it's funny, yeah, it's funny how that actually works out for me. So, but yeah,
Well,
that
he graduated, and him, and Terrence had the craziest, the weirdest fucking night. We
yeah,
played poker for 5 hours straight.
we also played a funny
Blackjack. We played
what was
cards, and
it?
we
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 played.
we gambled for 5 hours
There was also
straight.
the truth or dab game from the show called Hot Ones, and
We threw
I threw up.
up.
Yeah, lots of hot sauce I ate. I ended up throwing up, and yeah, that was so much fun though. Those
Yeah.
questions, it's a fun game though. I must say, it's a good feel party game for friends. Definitely not for family. I'll say that
No,
much.
no, no, not at all.
Please do not play that
Some
game
of the,
with your family.
but yeah, it was fun. That was so fun. That night was so fun.
But yeah, I mean,
I wish I took more videos and pictures.
God, yeah, that's the problem because it's
And
like,
my fucking New Year's for me and Terrence was fucking awesome too. We got fucking we got fucked up and played Elden Ring for 12 hours straight.
God, I mean, I gotta say, like, one major thing that I hate that I forget to do is because since we're always having so much fun when we're together and we're in the moment, we forget to take pictures.
I know.
That's why, like, I want to be able to be just remembered, be like, okay, we gotta take at least one fucking picture.
I mean, I technically did get a picture of you strangling Terrence, which is where you were like kind of like under him, kind of like looks like you were holding him up.
It sounds so fucking weird out of context. Let's not explain it though. Let's just leave it there.
I'll put the picture here.
You piece together your own conclusion as to what it means. But anyways, so it was just a very fun night overall, and like hopefully, because now that we're adults moving forward, everything will be definitely different.
Way more recordings, higher
Oh
quality
yeah.
stuff.
And even when it comes to recordings as well, I'll also be able to try and find a way to record at my house with you in a call. See if I could still do
Set
that.
that up, yeah, make it so you don't have to come over every time we have to record.
Yeah, I mean, I could just come over every like, I don't know. Obviously, it's probably a bit constraining, but
Every week is probably going to be hard to do.
yeah,
Honestly, that's why I said 8 to 9 videos, so we have stuff to lay back onto if we ever can't record a week. That way we
yeah,
have extra stuff to upload.
yeah. And I'll try to learn the bus schedule too.
Also, it seems like you've been staying the night a lot whenever you come over recently.
Yeah,
Your schedule is basically turned into what Terrence has done every single time. Whenever Terrence comes over, he stays the night every time. I don't think there's ever been a day where he's gone home after coming over. I think he's always stayed the night. Even like since seventh grade, every time he's come over, he's stayed the night.
yeah.
But God, gonna get Terrence on here more often too in the coming future.
Hopefully, I
Probably won't be for a good minute, but he will eventually be on here.
mean, also
But
because that's the thing, because I do want to be able to take this a little bit more with heart and seriously, because I know how much like passion you've been having for this, and I feel like, damn, I've been slacking a lot when it comes to this shit,
yeah,
because
well, I kind of lost the original like I guess passion I had for it before, honestly, because it's I don't know, it's just like because we didn't have time. Well, you didn't have time, and I didn't want to like like rush you into like say, ooh, excuse me, oops, like saying I don't know. I just didn't want to force you to do or feel like I was forcing you to do it,
yeah, I know, I
and I have
understand.
trouble recording stuff up by myself, so it's like. But then honestly, what really got me into it, I was watching an episode of this one podcast called the Unsubscribe Podcast. It was episode with members of the boys, Eddie VR, your narrator, and Juicy Fruit Snack, and they were talking about their like upcoming on YouTube and uh, the way they did it. It just got me in that mindset of wanting to start back up and doing it again. It like made me remember why I wanted to do it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. When I was
Not
younger,
just for the money, but for the freedom of it.
oh yeah, it's very enjoyable. Because I will say, when I was like and in elementary and middle school, when you grow up watching YouTubers and in that kind of space, you're always like you're gonna think, could I become a YouTuber? And that's all I wanted to do when I was younger. I actually like had like an old
Insert ninja face clip here.
that'd be pretty funny, but yeah, I remember the first ever video I uploaded to YouTube was back in fucking hell, what was it? 2017. I think when I was like 11 years old. I was like so small. I mean, I'm still small, but Well, I know my answer to
You
that.
never responded to
I
it.
know my answer though.
Oh fuck.
anyways, uh, anyways,
Sorry, that was just funny. It's not
that
Mac
was a fun.
responded to it.
It was just funny joke. But like I said, um,
I have to go pee.
anyways, yeah. But yeah, like I said, the whole idea of the mentality of wanting to become a content creator was really burned into me in a positive way. When I was younger, growing up with lots of different YouTubers like like Stampy Cat, Popular MMOs, the Gaming Lemon, the Vanos crew, all these different people. It's just fucking amazing. Like the Vanos crew were the first few YouTubers that I ever actually watched on YouTube, and I could still remember the specific video. I think it's still his most popular video to date. Well, Vanos Gaming on his channel when he's playing in Gmod Sandbox and they're all pretending to be toys. I remember watching that. Like that was like a massive impact in terms of wanting to go forward. Cause like when I was younger, a major problem was at least in terms of elementary school, is I didn't have any friends. Yeah,
Until fourth grade.
until fourth grade when I met this guy sitting next to me. Yeah,
God, 10 years.
yeah, 10 years
That's
this year.
fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, 10 years now we've known
We've
each
literally
other.
known each other for more than half of our lives now.
Yeah, it's crazy now that we met when we were like small, like when we were like 9 years old, and now we're 18, turning 19
Then
now
there
soon
was the
enough.
between times.
Yeah, there was a time in between where we just kind of lost contact, and
Yeah.
when we came back together, it was really
It
cool
was
being
like
able to, yeah,
instant.
just instant clicking. Like we didn't even need to be like yeah, so
Hey, my
this
name is.
yeah. Well, it was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember you. Anyways, let's get some food.
Yeah, it was really just fucking instant.
Yeah, I don't know, but like, It's funny because I always see those like funny, goofy memes where it's like girls, we have to constantly stay in contact with each other. And it's like me contacting bro after 5 years. Yo, you alive? Yeah, bro.
Want to get something to eat?
Yeah.
Yeah, bet. It was literally like that. Like you just messaged me on Instagram. What one of those days? You just messaged you on Instagram and you just went on from there.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like, yeah, like I remember like coming in
Then you
contact.
ended up going to the same high school, like
Yeah,
Rincon. You ended up going to Rincon.
yeah,
Oops. Well, we don't go to school. You ended up going
yeah.
to Rincon, and just a chance.
It was so fucking weird. But what was even
Also, we lived literally a couple blocks from each other too.
That's the funny part, because I remember not actually hanging out with you for like a few months before, during moving in, and then when you responded, it's like, then later on, I found out you were literally just up the street.
Also, hang on. When did you move into that place down there?
That's a good fucking
Cause
question.
that could really show how long we actually lived that close to each other without knowing. Cause I moved in here in 2020.
Uh, I moved in there in 2022, actually.
That means we're living in the same area for 2 fucking years. Pretty sure for a year of that we're talking here in 2022. Cause
I
oh
think,
yeah,
well,
so we started the channel in 2023, in July of 2023. That means that so about I still want to say we started talking about halfway through 2022.
yeah, because I moved in there in May of 2022, and I think didn't start talking until maybe 2 months after that, maybe.
Mm.
So like, yeah, for that amount of time, I didn't even know this son of a bitch was there. He
Yeah.
was literally up the block from me, and
Yeah.
like,
Like,
that's like fucking coincidence or chance right there. That shit's like crazy as hell.
yeah.
Like, I don't know how
And I
the
live 10 miles from me.
like how the hell is there no divine creator if shit like that
I
happens?
know. It's
Like,
it was fucking. This is crazy.
and then like reconnecting with everybody, like talking with Terrence again, and then you know what's even fucking it's crazier too, because I remember one day in high school, I remember I was in my credit recovery class, and I was just sitting there one
Of
day.
course.
This new student walks in, sits next to me. I turn to my right. It's fucking Marcelo, one of our other really good friends. I turn to him and both of us look at each other for a good solid like 3 seconds. We're like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, holy fucking shit, man, it's been so long. And then like talking with him again, reconnecting with him, it was so fucking funny
Yeah.
because it's super funny because I remember like this person sits down next to me in the chair. He like accidentally steps on my bag. He's like, oh sorry. I'm like, ah, it's all right. Then we look at each other. I'm like,
It's like fucking
instant
Eureka.
click.
It was a Eureka moment.
It was so fucking funny because then like towards the end of the day, I was like talking with Mario and I'm like, bro, Marcelo's here. And then like at the end of the day, it's like we all of us meet up with each other towards like the center of camp, like the school campus, and then we're all like talking with each other. That shit, bro, that it just took me back to fucking middle school, man. That God, that's so good. And then talking with like so many other people too. I remember like like before meeting with Marcelo, talking with Terrence again, and then like seeing him in person again. It's crazy. He's still really fucking tall. Yeah, seriously, the dude is massive. But then also talk with other people, like a good friend of mine, Chris, and like connecting with everybody back again. It's just it felt so weird because I was living in Phoenix for about like a year and a half, and then I came back to Tucson, reconnecting with everybody. It made me so happy,
Yeah.
especially with you, man. Like
Yeah.
I remember like coming back here, and I'm like, all right, I need to make like maybe a new Instagram account, and then
When
I
you see me, huh?
and it's funny because I made the account, and then like a personal recommendation from the old account with like certain followers came, and and all these different sorts of like recommended people to follow started flowing in, and I'm like, wait a minute. First one I noticed was you. I remember reading your fucking name, and I'm like, hold on a second, I gotta message him, cause like, yeah, like I said, like you're my fucking best friend, man, and seeing that, it's like it was so just like it was instant, and
Yeah.
then like seeing everyone else, bro, it was the best time. It was the greatest fucking thing because I remember talking with Marcelo even before he came to Rincon, and I randomly saw him, and then like he just comes into class one day, and I didn't fucking expect it. Because it's funny because he came in about halfway through the
Right.
school year itself.
I think I started talking to back around the same time me and you started talking again.
Really shit.
Mm.
That's funny. God, but yeah, it's like, and even like also like talking with like newer friends as well. I remember I was going to school in Tuva for a little while before I went to Rincon, and that was also when I was like reconnecting with you a bit more and everyone. And then I God, that's when I also met a bunch of fucking awesome people, and like like being it now, like obviously I still don't feel like an adult
No.
because technically we're still teens since there's a one
Yeah.
in front of our age. Until that one becomes a two,
Go kill people. Whoa! I can't take a fucking sip of a brewski.
I can buy, I can get myself registered for a rifle and purchase one, but I can't drink alcohol. Thanks, America.
I can't smoke a doobie with my buddies. Thanks, America.
I can't drink and drive, but I can do a drive-by. Thanks, America.
I don't think you can drink and drive regardless, buddy. Oh fuck.
If I can't drink and drive, why do I go to the liquor store and they ask me for my driver's license? And why do I have two hands?
Sorry.
Anyways, but yeah.
Jesus fuck.
But seriously though, like it being like thinking about it, it's like I'm 18 and I'm like, this is weird.
Like what? It's a lot of waiting.
Yeah, it really is. There's
Just
definitely
waiting
gonna
for some.
there's definitely gonna be a lot of buffer time in between because like I've told you before, like what we've been doing is like pretty much applying to jobs, waiting to get an answer, and then them telling you we don't want you.
We need someone with experience. Like, bitch, this is an entrance level position.
That's the funny thing though. It's like you want someone with experience, however, a need job to get
They
experience.
need someone with experience. Yeah, it's a fucking new level. Like it's like a new coming level level of experience needed for it.
And what's also funny is that a lot of these places like offer on-site training, so it's kind of like, what's the problem there?
Yeah, it is.
Like, you want
Ugh.
me to have experience in order to get job, and I don't have experience yet. You offer on-site training. How's that make sense?
Yeah.
But
At least someone at least Terrence got a job.
yeah, yeah,
Working for debatably one of the most hated companies, but also the most used companies in the world. But that's besides the point.
I guess you could say one of the most controversial companies.
Yeah.
There we go. It's very controversial, but I will still
I'll
use
still
that
work.
company.
Yeah.
I'd also
It's convenient.
I'd probably also still work for them too.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's a very convenient company, and I think once he gets himself, I guess, onto a certain point, he'll enjoy himself.
Personal stuff we're not
Yeah,
going to talk about
yeah,
without his permission.
of course, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
But yeah.
But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of there's a bigger waiting period, and I applied for job assistance through a place called Arizona Work, and it's uh funny enough, it's like I don't think they haven't reached out to me yet.
I'm sorry, you need experience to apply for job assistance.
It'd be fun. God,
Oh my
that'd be
god.
funny, but
Put the
yeah.
muzzle to your fucking skull at that point, man.
Just fucking stab myself with frost. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it really is a waiting period. I apply to these jobs, I wait for an answer. If I haven't got an answer in the allotted time they said, I'll call them and then, like, see. That's pretty much just how it's gonna be for now.
Yeah.
At least for us. We gotta wait to really see. And, like I said, there's a lot of things I also need to readjust myself to because I've been living in Tucson like most of my life, but I don't know anything about the streets. I've realized
I
that,
know the basics of it.
but I'm like,
I can get around.
it's funny because like I'm able to direct myself in a certain way. Like I'd be one of those people in the car, like, yeah, so take a left here, turn right there, keep going straight. Instead of like, so you're gonna want to turn down this street for a little bit longer, then you're gonna want to make a right up on this corner in the street here. But I'm getting better at that now because I'm trying to at least memorize the streets so I can use buses. I've been using buses recently too, and that's what I'm thinking. I should like memorize buses so I can also just get to your house.
Yeah, instead of having just saying 6:30 a.m. waking up driving, then it's an hour trip. It's an hour like thing in the morning. Go to your house, pick you up,
Yeah,
and come here.
yeah, that's the bad. Yeah, that's the bad
So
part.
it's
But
30
also,
minutes to get to your house.
yeah, it's also that's the thing because when it comes to like a car, it's like easy to get here, but through a bus it would take me like about 40 to 50 minutes to get to this place from where I live. And depending on the bus schedule itself, it might take a little bit longer.
Hell, when you get a job, it's Uber everywhere at that point.
Yeah. But like I said, I mean, although of course I'd be more willing to do that than just be like, yo, bro, can I get a ride? Because neither of us even have a driver's license yet.
God, if I did, it'd be so much easier. I need to get on that. I need to get on getting that driver license. I need one for the electrician thing anyway.
Yeah. I just need one in general, honestly. It'd
Yeah.
be so much easier. God, but man, yeah, there's all that stuff in mind. It's also getting these sorts of important things you need to be an adult. I've got everything now. I've got like all the important documents aside from like a driver's license. I haven't even taken the permit test yet.
Hmm. You have an idea at least.
Yeah, I've pretty much just like I mean, I feel like it would be simple to a certain degree, like taking like like the computer test or like the written test. And then actually like the driving test itself is what's really scaring me.
Hmm. Once you drive a little bit, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's like playing a video game kind of.
yeah, that's
I'm not
fair.
like not even a joke. It's legit. It's like it's very simple. It's most honestly the only thing that's hard about it. It's not the actual driving the car that's hard. It's memorizing the street. Memorizing the laws.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
hard.
hard part.
Like when it's legal to turn right at a lead red light, or like or how laws with passing semis work, how like highway.
Yeah.
It's memorizing the laws for the written test that's hard, not so much the actual driving part that's hard.
Yeah, I feel like yeah, that'll definitely be harder cuz like say
So that's book work. It's the hard part.
yeah. And then like I feel like also another point like say merging into traffic, like picking a good moment, like timing it correctly, like getting in.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll be hard for
Also
me.
deciding your drive style if you want to drive with 2 feet or 1 feet or 2 feet or 1 foot.
Yeah.
Ed drives 2 feet. My mom drives 1 foot. I want to do 2 feet, but my mom says do it 1 foot. Ed says do it 2 feet.
I don't
So,
know. It all really depends on
but to
how
be
easy it
fair,
would be for you.
to be fair, Ed is like the father of autism. So it's
Yeah.
like his brain is wired
Certain people
to
would
where he has
yeah.
like the word of
Yeah.
control over his like I don't know his
Yeah,
brain.
because yeah, when it comes to driving with 1 foot, it's more or less kind of just in the idea that you have to kind of just like focus and control it. With 2 feet, it's kind of just like like a motion, like constant flux. It's like riding a bike when like
The
two
main
legs.
reason people drive with 1 foot is so you don't hit the brakes by accident usually.
Yeah, that's fair. I probably would just yeah drive with 1 foot, because when I was riding that electric bike, I kept accidentally accelerating. So I feel like driving with 1 foot would be more easier for me in general, and it would just be better that way. Also,
I kind of want
huh?
to. I'll tell you about the. Let's switch topics
All
here.
right,
I feel like we've talked about ourselves for well, kind of ourselves for enough here.
all right,
Well, we'll be talking about ourselves still, but in a different way. So it's mostly the reasons why I decided that we're gonna make a second channel for it.
all right.
A second channel for non-podcast stuff because I have learned how the algorithm on YouTube works a little better.
Fair enough. I mean, as
And
yeah.
so the way is so like it's kind of hard to explain. So let's say we have a video go viral, like for example, our first podcast episode, like it's not viral, it got like 40 views, something like that.
Uh-huh.
And then we kept on doing that, and those kept on getting views. But then, as you saw, we uploaded something different, a reaction video,
Mhm.
and that got no views.
Mhm.
But then we kept on upload. We kept on mixing the types of videos we did, which like it's like the algorithm gets confused because this video gets a lot of views while this one doesn't. So like it's not sure whether or not to push your content to the front page or not, to the recommended page or not. So that's why I decided to do two channels and sticking to two types of content instead of doing whatever we want to do. Because if we have two types of content, if a video of that type goes viral and we constantly put out that type of content, then those videos will also like constantly be getting views, getting pushed to the to the recommended. Same thing with the podcast. If it's only podcast, the podcast does good, and we upload another podcast, and it keeps going. People will people will be coming to watch that instead of uploading something completely different. And they'll keep coming back to watch the podcast. We upload it more and more views, they get pushed to the algorithm more, and so on. That's why I said do two channels so that we can still do stuff that's a podcast without it messing up the algorithm for the podcast and vice versa.
That's fair.
Yeah, that was the whole reason I wanted to do a second channel.
Cause I always thought about it like people creating multiple channels, like
Well, at least until we get a loyal fan base, that'll
that's
watch
fair, yeah.
anything we upload. That'll be a couple of years probably.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the more and more I watch YouTube, the more and more I realize why people do two types of channels. Probably because there are like multiple different channels. Because constantly uploading just a bunch of shit on one channel.
Yeah, they have passion project channels and they have actual like make to make money channel.
And that's where like a lot of those reaction video channels are just like money farmers.
Yeah, fucking Soup made his Dallas Supers watching fucking car crashes on Twitch.
And sometimes it's
Watching
like,
fucking dog dick on Twitch. God.
and sometimes like people don't even react. They just kind of sit there and watch videos.
Yeah,
It's funny because it's like
Asmongold be like
Asmongold be like, I'm going to be racially
Asmon
motivated.
Asmongold be like I have a wall with bloody teeth on
My living room is full of trash. Let me show you a before and
it.
after picture.
Asmongold be like I used to use a dead rat as an alarm clock. I'm not even fucking kidding. So I'm gonna tell you about that.
What?
So Asmongold, he used to have he said this on stream. It was 100% like being serious about this. He used to have a dead rat on like a windowsill, right? That like the sun would like come out and hit, which I'm surprised he had sun hit him at all, if I'm being honest. And it's like the dead rat. It's like the sun would like hit the rat and like warm it up and make it smell, and the smell would like wake up Asmongold, so he would know when it's time to wake up.
Oh God. Bro's like, how do I wake myself up? A basic
Have
alarm?
you seen the
Nah.
clip of him trying water?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it was like he just drinks his fucking watered down Coke.
It's like he was having a stroke.
Yeah.
He had a stroke. He needed some coke.
God, Asmongold is like fucking moist critical from hell.
Yeah, he's like literally the polar opposite of like Moist Critical. Both of them like are similar types of people in terms of like certain kinds of content. Although like one is a cave dwelling gremlin, the other is just short energy gremlin.
Yeah, also very creative articulation gremlin.
Yeah, because it's like Moist Critical, he's a fit guy even though he's small. He's got a sleeper build. He works out. He focuses on lots of things. He's like very hard work towards projects. And then Asmongold,
Watch the video. Use same face for thumbnail.
he's literally like those like funny little drawings of like those people who are just at the chair with a bright screen in front of them, hunched over on their keyboard.
Just no, that's mean.
What?
No, no. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Fucking motherfuckers like that make so much money, man.
It's crazy because Asmongold is like even like through controversy recently, he's still very popular. He's still
What's
making
your
a lot of
opinion
money.
on female antagonists in video games?
That's funny.
As-
That's an interesting.
Asmongold gets so mad, like Asmongold and his fucking little gremlin viewers, like female protagonists in video game. Oh, they're pushing the woke agenda, but it's like, have you played The Last of Us before?
Have you played
Have you
Bayonetta?
played any Lara Croft games, or sorry, Tomb Raider games before?
Yeah, Tomb Raider. Now that's actually a perfect example for female protagonist because Tomb Raider it was one of the most popular video game franchises on the PlayStation when it was released. It was a heavy hitter for lots of different things on the PlayStation, you know, compared to like say Castlevania or like any other sort of mainline things like Crash
And
Bandicoot
there's
or
also so
Spyro.
many examples of incredible female, like, just video game characters in general. Like Elden Ring, for example, Melania. Melania,
Yeah.
who's a fucking incredible boss who has incredible lore behind it. Fucking hell, most of the characters in Elden Ring, if I'm being honest, like Thea, Deathbed Companion, her whole thing, Queen America, her whole Golden Order thing, Ronnie, fucking Rilana,
I,
fucking
Also, I do want to clarify that there are a lot of differences between, like, say, woke agenda. Don't get me wrong. The idea of, like, the woke agenda, it does bother me sometimes.
fair enough.
But then there are times
Sometimes it does get a little ridiculous.
when I'm looking at things, I'm like, because
For
I
example, making Disney characters black.
like, don't get me wrong.
It's not because they're black. It's because it's not like. It's because it's just not the story anymore.
Yeah, because yeah, because it's like it's not like even a main focus on the story anymore. It's like Disney's like, hey, look, the character's black now. You guys like it? Please pay for this.
Yeah.
And it's like,
if they did it in a creative way.
yeah, like in a way that I guess
Like
that
what's a good example of for like the Oz or whatever.
oh, the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's like there's one called like The Oz, like a movie called The Oz.
Oh no, Wicked.
Wait, there's a thing called there's this older movie.
Oh, like the Great and Powerful Oz, like with James Franco.
What's it called? It's called The Oz, I think.
I'll try
And it's like
look it up.
it's like a redo of The Wizard of Oz. But it's like it's one that
The
has Michael Jackson
Oz.
in it as the scarecrow.
I just found a movie about criminals and drug dealers.
Ozymandias. No, so,
The Oz.
Ozark.
Huh.
It has Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson as the Scarecrow.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, The Wiz. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's called The Wiz in
Called
1978.
The Wiz. Is that the correct movie?
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it is.
Huh? Was Michael Jackson even alive at this time? Yeah. That. Oh yeah. Shit. Yeah, that's Michael Jackson.
Yeah. You see, that's an example of doing it correctly. Of like instead of just like taking one character and making it black, but keeping the whole story,
I see what
they
the.
did it. They did it correctly. Like they implemented forms of black culture into the movie
Ooh, actually,
correctly.
this is
The
interesting.
songs they did, the way they did it was it worked with it. It worked with the storyline.
That's interesting. Instead of Dorothy being a farm town girl, Dorothy is a school teacher from Harlem. That's actually an
Yeah,
interesting sort of
it's the
interpretation.
way they do it works. Like they don't just make a character just that. They like and say like, oh hey, this is that culture now. Or it's like they actually implement like the culture from it correctly, the music from it. Like it's I don't want to say race swapping, but it's like it's it's culture. It's mixing cultures
I
correctly.
guess a good term you can use is like, say, a sort of cultural drift.
Yeah, it's doing it correctly.
It's like where they mix it in instead of just being like, your race is
Yeah,
different.
it they make it so it works good.
Yeah, because I do want to be able
It's
to.
crazy that something from the '70s is done better than something made today.
Yeah, I think that's
When it comes to that,
mostly.
like,
I think that's mostly a representation of companies doing this. Because if companies didn't do like just random race swapping nowadays, no one would really care. And I want to be able to give a few examples of the different types of complaints that people have made. Now, I
another
want
example of a black character done
to.
well is Miles Morales, a Black Spider-Man.
Yes. Now,
That's an example of it done right too.
now of I'll get to that in a second. But the
Or
major.
Miguel, another one.
Well,
Sorry,
yeah,
but
he's
Spider-Man 2, the
yeah, he's
2099.
yeah, he's Hispanic. He's That's actually an
Yeah.
interesting story. Anyways, as I'll get into that in a second. Now, what I want to give an example for is the complaints that lots of people have made majorly due to these types of reasons. One major complaint why people are bothered by it is because it really doesn't do anything. You're just randomly changing these characters' races. And I also want to give another example of where it was kind of strange. There was a Resident Evil movie that came out that was like a budget film. It was Resident Evil Return to Raccoon City, where they made Leon Indian. Leon Scott Kennedy, this very
Sorry. Sorry.
Jesus, this very like sort of pale blonde, this
Jared, what
very.
are you doing? Sorry.
What are you doing in Raccoon
What are
City?
you doing in the Raccoon City?
Oh my God, there are zombies everywhere.
They're going to steal my cornbread. Sorry.
But
Oh fuck.
racist jokes aside, but seriously though, it's kind of like I think that was more due to the fact that it was a budget film, but it is still an example. Also, another major example, The Little Mermaid. It was just kind of just it's like she's black now, which to be fair, at the same time, that's an example where I don't really care because
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I did watch the original Little Mermaid cartoon. It was pretty nice. I enjoyed it, but it is, I guess, an example where I don't care. But I also want to give like other examples where like there are random race swaps that kind of didn't really have much to do with the character themselves, but it was still fairly good. Like Nick Fury in the MCU. When they got Samuel Jackson to play Nick Fury, honestly,
Well, to be fair, it's Samuel
yeah,
Jackson.
to be fair, I guess it's more or less because of the fact that it's Samuel Jackson. He's
Yeah.
just a really good fucking actor.
Yeah.
And to be fair, but they didn't just change his race, they changed his character. In the comic books, Nick Fury is a piece of shit. He is a fucking asshole. He is a lying, manipulative scumbag where is willing to kill and torture people for the sake of being able for government control, weapons, and power. Now, in the movie, you kind of see certain elements where he's a bit of a secretive guy. He can be a bit of a schmuck sometimes, especially like say in the first Avengers movie or in like certain movie other movies as well. Like say when he was kind of scolding him in like a Spider-Man Far From Home. But that was needed because he was pretty much just telling Peter that he needs to be able to actually be a superhero instead of a kid. And and even then he doesn't like try and hurt anyone, or even if he does, he doesn't try to do it intentionally. Like when he was giving his speech to Iron Man in Age of Ultron, where it's like, you make some pretty impressive inventions, Tony, war isn't one of them. And he's like, I'm not the commander of anyone, just an old man who cares a lot about you. Which is true, to be fair, to a certain extent, even though when he was introduced in Iron Man 2 and he was giving Tony that whole like speech where it's like, you're not the center of my world. But even then, that interpretation of Nick Fury, where he's more somber, more caring, mwah, it fucking works. It just works. Especially compared to the time in the comic books where he murdered one of the Watchers and became a Watcher. Real thing that happened, and I gotta say, I really don't like that version of Nick Fury though. I gotta say it in the in comic books and such. But like I said, I digress. Examples like that are kind of where it kind of works, but like I said, if you're going to implement a race change and not really have the race have anything really to do with the character itself, it just doesn't really work. Now, of course, lots of people were also giving examples of like the Queen Charlotte TV show. You remember that came out a while ago?
I think I've seen some stuff about it.
Now, Queen Charlotte, obviously a real person who is white. And they made a TV show where she was black. Now, I feel like it's also different with fictional characters and real people, but
Sorry, Mac.
like it's a prime example of these certain things where it's like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna make a movie about MLK and MLK is Ryan Gosling? Like, because that's also another bunch of the stuff. Because there's a new like Snow White movie that's being worked on now with this woman in mind who's like being the head of it, this director herself, and she's like kind of like talking shit on the original like story of Snow White, like the original tale of Snow White, and just kind of describing how like the whole damsel in distress and being saved by a man is like very dumb. And I gotta say, the original Snow White, it was really good. Like the original tale, the cartoon and stuff, like it's all written very good. Like the characters are very interesting. And Disney, when it was originally animated, adapted it into a very well, like sort of placed thing. It was like it's a good story, but like I mean, I don't see what's so wrong about the whole damsel in distress situation in the first place. And then like, and that's the thing. This woman herself is directing the movie, and she wanted to play Snow White herself, and she's Hispanic, and she's a bit tan. Now, that's not really the major thing that I do want to talk about. The major thing is how Snow White is described in the book itself. The reason why she's called Snow White is because of her in the book, her snow white skin.
Yeah.
And when characters are described like that in great detail, I feel like it's kind of hard to, like change that, especially when it's a key point of their character. And like when culture is important to their character. Like obviously everyone would be upset if, they made Black Panther white.
I see Keanu Reeves play him.
Keanu Reeves, Wakanda forever. That sounded more like Nicolas Cage. Like, I gotta tell you, Wakanda forever.
Oh my god.
But these are interesting key points that I have to make because you also have other characters who are like maybe not even from Earth. Like aliens like Superman or Goku. What if you made Goku black? Eh?
God. Okay, you want to know weirdly good? Okay, so there's this movie.
Uh-huh.
Weirdly good, like, representation of showing, like, just standard, like, of, like, female strength, I guess. A good way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The Shrek movies.
That is a very,
Fairy
very
tale,
good fucking
fairy
point.
tale, like Shrek does that very well.
It's very interesting because in the first movie, when Fiona is being rescued, even when she's rescued and like Robin Hood is like trying to is like harassing Shrek in the forest, she kicks the shit out of everyone. And
Exactly.
there's even like a reference to the Matrix at one point, and that's like really funny to see. And then even like in what was it, Shrek? Was it Shrek 2 or Shrek the Third, where those princesses were storming the castle?
I think it was two.
Yeah, that whole scene where all these princesses, it was really funny because you see Snow White just start singing and then like sending just sending animals towards the castle in like a horde, and then it starts kicking in like a song and shit.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like that right there is very comedic and very hilarious. And then Rapunzel is for some reason betrays everyone. It's
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Shrek 2 actually came out before Tangled.
Tango's also a movie that does
Yeah,
that good.
it's a also Tangled representation of Rapunzel, and I actually have to say Tangled, one of my favorite fucking Disney movies on the planet.
Yeah.
It is so good. It is like really well. It's
You know
just
my
really well
favorite
done.
Disney movie?
Huh.
Endgame.
Uh.
Sorry, I had to.
Endgame, yeah. Fair enough. It does technically count.
Yeah.
A lot of people would just give you the side eye when you saying that, but it's so funny. But yeah, like I said, fair major points to really be made about like how like say race, gender, and cultural background really fit into like these characters' sorts of personalities. And a lot of people are more or less towards the idea. It's like, well,
Like
if you change a white character,
I think the end like point of this is race swapping is perfectly fine. Like it's fine to have a white character be black, but make it make sense. Or like how like Hispanic, like make it make sense.
yeah, because like I said, I didn't even know about that movie, The Wiz, but just reading it right now, that is an interesting way to change it up. Because Dorothy in the
Yeah.
original
Make
Wizard
it
of
original, make it interesting.
yeah, Dorothy in the original Wizard of Oz is is this little farm town schoolgirl. She's this little girl with this dog. She grows up on this like little like sort of I think Kansas like kind of Kansas cornfield farm. And then reading The Wiz, she's a school teacher in Harlem, New York.
I
That is
watched that
actually
movie. I watched that movie Choir.
that's actually really fucking interesting.
Yeah, it's a good movie, honestly.
Because that's also my major point. Because you want to know where, like, because, like, okay, now I'm going to address it. Miles Morales, Spider Man. My favorite Spider Man, actually. I fucking love Miles Morales. Because, for one, he's such a well written character. I fucking love him. No homo. He, he
He's
is
16.
oh no. God, it's like he's such a good character because obviously he's one of those characters that's written to be like one of those kind of like goofy sort of reckless kids who don't really know like certain weight of different decisions and ends up like not seeing it in a bigger picture, but also he's also very caring as well. He just wants to be able to help everyone and he wants to be able to decide his own future, and he's like also upset about the amount of responsibility he has. But to be fair, that's like also all of Spider-Man. But you want to know what's so goddamn interesting too, because his his race is also important to his character. Disney. Seriously. That's the thing. All the different Spider-Man, their race and where they grew up, and like the even like time periods, like characters that grew up in different time periods, like Spider-Man Noir. Yeah, he is a different version of Peter Parker, an alternate universe where
Penny
he
Parker is
yeah
also.
yeah. Now hold on a minute. I actually have a lot to say about Penny Parker. She has an interesting story because this alternate version of Peter Parker, Spider-Man Noir, he grew up in the 1940s, and he's a secret agent who fights Nazis. That's fucking cool.
That's awesome. What?
And that's my point. He is a secret agent who grew up in this specific timeline where the time period he's in has an impact to who he is, and the way he grew up has an impact to who he is. Because he's actually one of the most, if not probably the most vengeful version of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Because
that
he
makes sense.
he also became Spider-Man at an older age compared to like how Spider-Man was in high school. He was more or less just like pretty much like I think by the time he was bit, he was already out of school. He was like he had a job. He was about to go to war, and then he got bit by the spider. And then the way Uncle Ben died is really interesting because it has a very large notion on how the villains are. Because, like I said, with each interpretation of Spider Man, all these villains and all these characters are crafted in the world around him in such a creative way. Because Uncle Ben was murdered by Vulture in his timeline, but Vulture is a mutant. He's a byproduct of, like, you know, bad experimentation and just like he became a monster. He is literally a scavenging vulture. And it's kind of sad for Vulture too, though, because he's like this decrepit person who was once just kind of this just like broken man who was turned into a monster. And then how he killed Uncle Ben? He ate him.
Oh.
He literally consumed him piece by piece. And because it also explains all this in one of my favorite personal games, Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, one of the first games that actually did the Spider Verse thing. It is such a good game because you play so many different Spider Man and it just works. It is so good. Now, and like I said, prime example of good thing. And like I said, back to Miles Morales, he's Dominican. His mother is Hispanic and his father is black. And he grew up around that area to the point where he speaks Spanish, and in the comic books he represents his culture very well. To the point where he speaks Spanish a lot and kind of makes little snide remarks of like racist jokes at certain points. Actually, it's actually really funny if you like read these certain comic books. It's entertaining. And his mom as well. His mom, because his mom is Hispanic, and that's where he gets that blood from, and that has a major impact and representation of like where his cultural background comes from, because in a lot of interpretations there are points where he like represents it by going to these certain families and representations and reunions and parties where it has a massive impact on who and what he is. And of course he grows up in Harlem, New York, a very heavy black community where like the different types of styles and the different types of person he is has an impact with the world around him. That's good. Just slapping a different race on a character doesn't mean that they're a different that it's representation of any kind. I mean, I mean this in the most sincere way to anyone really. What if they just slapped Miles Morales and made him like Asian? What about that? What if they fucking hell? What if they grabbed goddamn? What if they grabbed Shang Chi and made him Indian? Like, like I said, there are certain characters where like they are prime examples of where it is a good example. And I also want to bring up this major fact. There are lots of people who also think, hey, if it's done to a white character, then it's not racist. Let me tell you this. Racism isn't selective. It's literally racism. And also in the idea that lots of people say it's impossible to be racist to a white person. And I just gotta say, do you read books? Does anyone read books anymore? Or does anyone actually learn about how history works? Because, what the fuck? Okay,
Maxim.
that's disturbing. The fuck? Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, like I said,
I'm, I'm,
these
I'm listening. Go ahead.
these sorts of things have major impact to who the characters are and how they operate. Because the way they are and the way they grew up, their background, their history, their time frame, the era they grew up in, all have a major impact. And I feel like people are forgetting that. They just want to make these characters the way they are for the sake of being able to be like, well, we made this character black. And that's the bad part. it's like it's always in the idea that they have to make the character black for the sake of like like an agenda, which yeah, when I say it like that, it makes it sound like I'm racist, and that's the bad part.
Well,
Well, I'm
no.
racist, but that has nothing to do with it. But that's the bad part. When people start to complain and criticize it, everyone's like, "You're fucking racist," and that's God. It's because
It's like I don't hate it because the character is black. I hate it because the story doesn't make sense anymore.
yeah, it's like it doesn't make sense that you're just kind of doing this over and over. And I want to make a prime example again because Spider-Man was such a heavy example of where these sorts of positive things kind of happen.
Like you have the same complaints if like a character who was the original story is black, they just made them white all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like I said, just just because white people have a majority in terms of history of racism, have you seen China?
Have you seen crazy? It started that way.
No, I'm not like exaggerating that.
I
They are
know.
racist to everyone. I gotta say,
Yeah.
they're racist to themselves.
Have you seen most of Europe?
Yeah, seriously, most of Europe, most of Asia, fuck,
most
most of the
Finnish
Middle East.
most Finnish people are racist to Swedish people.
Yeah, you should also look at.
There's literally a point between the two borders where it's legal for Swedish people to beat Finnish people with a stick. Like I'm not even joking.
No, but I'm serious. Have you seen like a lot of like the Middle East? Why do you think there's so many wars there? Like a lot
Over
of.
religion and differences in race.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They literally kill people based on religion, belief, and race. And it's bad that that the Christian church just wants to pray to God. And that's what I'm saying. It's bad that like certain people like it's bad that to be like Christian in modern day. It's bad to do that in America though. That's my major point. It's bad to be white, Christian, and straight. For some reason, those three things offend people so much.
Mm.
Being white, Christian, and straight.
Well, to be fair, I think it's because I think it's because uh sure correlation isn't causation, but a lot of the time those things correlate with people who have negative properties. Like a lot of the time someone who is racist is usually white, Christian, and so on.
Let me clarify that.
Not that someone is Christian white automatically means they're racist, but a lot of
Yes.
white men who are racist are usually Christian
Let me
and
clarify that.
straight.
Let me clarify that real quick. Catholic. They're usually Catholic. And let me also talk about Catholics real
Then
quick.
there's a whole fucking subcategories of Christianity. There's capitalism, evangelism, fucking promo pro what's it called? Another one. Shit ton.
Like a pro yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like homotheism or something.
Then there's even get yeah, fucking Baptist too.
Yeah. But of course, let me talk
Mormon is also one.
yeah, Mormon is. Mormon's also a bad example too. Because they quite literally Mormonism now that's a really
Then there's the insane amount of cults based around Christianity.
but that's the thing, because Christianity is actually a very beautiful religion. It's just that throughout history, lots of people have twisted and turned it. All religions are beautiful. All of them are. Most of them are.
Yeah, I won't say all.
most of them are. I will say, okay, most of them.
Not
Are.
to point out any specific ones, just for the just to say safe of controversy. Even though we said some pretty controversial stuff
We,
already.
I mean, I've been controversial the entire time. To be fair, I've been saying all that
Yeah,
stuff. You
we
could
just
give
say
an
what's on our-
example. You could at least give one example if you want.
I'm gonna say some of the stuff in some forms of fucking forget. See, there's this Muslim like fuck. What's the actual name for it though? Oh, what's it called? It's not Muslim.
Islam, I think.
Islam, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a lot of parts of Islam are very, very hateful towards women specifically.
And that is another thing.
Like, sure, there are good parts of it, but there's also a lot of examples of child marriage in it, and slavery, beheading women, and specifically how men are like more are always superior to women no matter what the circumstance and how
Yeah.
just on how women are property. Just give a few examples.
Yeah. And not to insult Islam, but
Yeah,
lots of people do praise it in terms of it being a perfect religion.
which there's nothing perfect
Now, like I do want
besides cell, of course. Sorry.
to.
Perfect, you say.
You're talking about perfect. Say hello to my perfect form.
Sir perfect cell meme.
Just
Fuck.
starts turning into plankton. It was all me, crabs. I don't know, but yeah, like I said, like then there's also like the practice of like say Buddhism and Shinto in Japan, where like it's kind of like a firm belief for you to have multiple wives. Literally,
Well, thing is, there's nothing inherently wrong with that.
yes,
To
not
be fair, nothing inherently wrong. It's more of the context of it that matters. Think in Mormonism, it's also like standard to have multiple wives too.
that's true, like, but also then again in
A
Mormonism,
lot of people like to have a lot of wives in a lot of different religions.
that's the thing. Then again, Mormonism they describe black people as followers of Satan. So
Yeah, they were cursed with black skin.
yes, but that's the major point. Christianity erupted in the Middle East in Israel. When it was introduced into Europe, that's when it was getting bad. That's
Yeah,
when that's when lots of these people were like, you know what? Let's make our own verge of
that's when white person fan fiction Jesus came
yeah,
to be.
that's when the Catholic Church was all like, if you pay us money, you'll get into heaven.
That's true. Then there's
That's literally
then
how it
there
happened.
is the whole Martin Luther deal there about like I think his whole thing was like your own like the Bible is up to your own personal interpretation or
Yes,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like, because here's the thing: the Bible.
Because it was something about like you know that back then like making a shit ton of copies of the Bible was like hard to do. A lot of people couldn't read back then either.
That's
So they just kind of went with what the Catholic Church said about the Bible, but then Martin Luther came on and said that no, you should read the Bible for yourselves and get your own interpretation of it.
and that's the major point because the Bible itself,
And that created a whole section of Christianity right there.
yeah, like I think that was kind of like the whole idea with the idea of the Protestants as well.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the Bible itself is a very straight answer
Use King James
to
version
have a
of it.
commitment to God. You do not need to be a perfect person. That's also another different interpretation that people have. You don't have to be a perfect human being. You just have to be able to commit yourself to God to have a way into heaven. Then the Catholics, they said, "Here, if you give me your money and your wife."
You're right.
But
You
to be
get your shit
fair,
heaven.
I will say I don't have a problem with
If you pay a monthly fee of $1 per
yes,
month of one coin
but
on top,
that's the thing. There's a difference between that and like churches asking for money. I don't have a
like
problem.
donations, yeah.
Yeah, because churches they're like a non-profit organization
Most of the time.
most of the time. Yeah, but they need money in order to at least like say pay for the
Then there are the
building they're
example
using.
of tax exertions or exemptions.
Lots of people use that. Lots of people mostly make churches like that for an excuse. You know what most churches like that are? Catholic. I don't have.
Then there's this the Temple of Satan. I'm pretty sure. Now listen, they have it as a church so they can get the tax exempt. But the thing is, they're less of a religion and more of a charity, where they give out the donations and money they get to people and like buy stuff for homeless people and stuff like that. But they have it as a church or religion to get the tax exemption so they have more money to donate.
Why Satan?
Just a fuck you, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Why not? Like what else? Like I guess you can say the flying spaghetti monster, but
fair enough.
like there's like
But
more
yeah,
people know Satan than they know the flying spaghetti monster, and it's more of like a atheistic. Like they're more.
yeah.
It's more just atheists who
Oh boy.
just want an example. Just want to like give them to give a middle finger to capitalism while also donating to homeless people and being good.
Okay, yeah. Now that's something I want to talk about. The difference between atheism and Scientology. I want to talk to all of the. I want to give a fucking example to all of these people who try to base their entire lives off of science, who don't even fucking study science, who don't even go into science. Because the firm belief of science is that you believe the world started due to a specific type of chance events in the creation of the Big Bang,
But
expanding the
to be fair,
universe.
it is possible to tie back to the point of where the Big Bang happened through the like reverse engineering of like energy waves or whatever.
And that's why it's a theory. That's why the Big Bang is a theory.
There's also carbon dating that shows that the the world is hell. The existence of lead just shows the Earth is older than 6,000 years old. Of lead being a thing.
And I also, but that's the thing. Then there's also the existence of dinosaurs. Lots of people saying, well, they don't exist, but hey, look at the paleontologists. I found these dead chicken bones. And then everyone's like, well, dinosaurs don't exist. But then that's my point. Then the whole idea.
Have you heard of the argument that they're like a test from God or whatever?
I have heard that dinosaurs were real creatures, and then like then he
No,
smited them
no, not
himself.
that one. There's another one where like there's this like thing that where like people they say dinosaurs were never a real thing. They're actually their bones were put there by God to test people's faith.
I
Like
have
they're
not
like
heard that
the
one.
animals didn't exist. They were just bones, just themselves were put there by God to test people's faith.
That isn't.
That's an actual argument.
I mean, it would make sense. God has challenged many people in terms of wanting to test faith, and lots of people have misinterpreted his challenges.
Like it's just. So,
But like I said, there's a certain way where there's a massive misconception in terms of race, religion, gender, and lots of people don't want to be able to see it in a certain positive light because I feel like most people want to be negative now. They try to be negative.
well, our brains kind of so it's more of a survival instinct thing, really enough. The human brain, it's like it's built to focus on negatives for the point of survival, I
That's
guess.
true.
Because it's like negative. This is like oh, it's like this is negative. This is positive. But I hate this, and hate is a little more stronger of an emotion than
Yeah.
like I guess you could say. And that's why people like focus on it so much, is because it's like the survival part of our brain saying this is bad.
Yeah,
Focus
because
on that.
hatred is like an innate feeling that can consume you a lot easier than like the feeling of passion or love
Yeah.
or faith in
Because
fact.
hate is a survival. It's a hate and anger to survival. It's like one something based on the survival part of our brains.
Yeah, and that's the major part because I will say hate is not a feeling that I regularly feel. I will be honest. I've never really thought about it
Like a fucking golden retriever.
I don't hate a lot of people. There's a lot of people who have insulted me, kind of just like been annoyed by me, and I've felt bad to a certain degree, but because it's like I don't really hate anyone. And that's kind of like the whole point of this argument. It's more or less in the idea of like certain misinterpretations or misrepresentations of certain sorts of faith and belief. I have faith in the idea that here's how I view the world. People view the world as corrupt, destructive, and disgusting. While that's all true, very true, very true. While that's all true, I have faith that the world itself can be better. I will always be optimistic towards that. Lots of people have called me optimistic.
Huh?
Lots of people have called me optimistic or
Yeah.
naive. That's fair. That's completely fair. You probably can't really see the world as like a good place where you can actually try. But in history, people have tried to make the world better. You know what people have done to them? They killed them. For what reason?
Fair enough.
Because if anyone tries to have any sort of, it seems that when people try to have a positive push towards it, negativity comes
I
in
don't
mind.
get political, but I mean, good our current president.
That's one thing we haven't talked about yet: politics, and that's
We're
some.
if we talk about politics, we're going for an hour. We're already an hour, 10 minutes.
Oh,
And
but
let me show you the title I have for this episode. That's the title I have for
I
it.
think we could just probably title it Big Controversies.
Nah, it's not gonna catch people's eye.
But to be fair, like I said, it's like I'm not saying this in a negative way. These are more acknowledgments towards how people have reacted over time. And I feel like here's another big example towards how things have worked: quarantine. Because
Australia smiting people if they step out their door.
yeah, but that's the
You
thing.
step out your door, fucking rocket launcher.
And Australia was the first one to freak out about toilet paper, actually, funny enough.
Yeah. In
But
China, literally releasing tigers in the streets so that he'll stay inside.
uh, but
I'm
that's my
not sure if
major.
that was real or not. But it was a really funny meme.
Might have been.
It's a really funny meme.
But that's my major point. Like all of this stuff in mind, when we've all been like throughout history, plagues and sicknesses have happened. The Black Death,
300 years. No, 100
polio.
years.
Yeah, it's weird. It is like a 100-year time span. 1720, 1820, 1920, then 2020.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
2120.
Shit.
It's
Here we
just
go
like,
again.
it's just like
Well, we're gonna be dead at that point, but actually,
118. We could live. Maybe I could.
I'll probably die at 68.
Oh, specifically, you just fucking just cold barrel to your head as like as the clock strikes midnight.
As it strikes, I'm just like,
That's honestly better.
just like a split-second death.
You just cursed yourself.
But no, like I said,
It's time to call it.
yeah, but
Finish your thought, and then we'll probably call it.
But yeah, like I said, it's more or less just an acknowledgement that we can all just try and be better. We all don't have to like each other. I know that much. We all don't have to agree with each other. We don't have to like each other, but we don't have to kill each other. For fuck's sakes. That's a major point to be made. Thank you all very much for coming and joining us on our day back. And after this, we'll be starting recording for stuff for the new channel. Thank you very much for joining.
See you all on the next one.
And don't forget to use code SLAPDASH at w.gg for 10% off at checkout of any purchase.
See ya.
See ya.